Welcome to the My Tech Toolbelt podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Brenda. And this is a podcast where we highlight educators who innovate, engage, and inspire through the use of technology. Thank you so much for joining us today for episode 23 of the My Tech Toolbelt podcast. Have you ever thought about finding a group of educators that are as interested in technology as you are? Well, today we are speaking with Cate Tolnai, Director of Member Engagement for CUE. CUE is a networking and education technology group. She explains all the wonderful advantages there are to joining a group just like CUE. So, without further ado, our interview with Cate Tolnai. Well, welcome everyone to the My Tech Toolbelt podcast. Today we are very excited to welcome Cate Tolnai from the CUE organization based in California. Woohoo! She is the Director of Member Engagement for CUE. So welcome today.
Thank you so much, ladies. It's lovely to be here.
Cate, can you just kind of kick us off by telling us a little bit about you and how you came to CUE?
Sure. I currently live in Southern California, and I taught for 10 years, mostly English and history to middle school students, and then just fell in love with the way that technology really engaged my students and untethered me from the traditional role of teacher as the knower of all things and put me as really a coach for my students. And so I pursued that and found myself as a TOSA in Loomis, California, up north near Sacramento. Really enjoyed working at a small school district up there for a few years. And that's when I actually got involved with CUE as a affiliate board director. So CAP-CUE is the affiliate up north of CUE, and we'll talk about that later. But I started getting more involved organizationally, putting on events, training teachers. I went to the Google Teacher Academy in 2014, which just opened up a slew of doors. And connections just kept happening via Twitter and social media and just being curious and meeting really awesome people. And then I got to transition down to basically be a super TOSA at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. And then I unlocked this opportunity at CUE. Been a 15, 16-year journey. It was exciting.
That sounds fun. So can you give us a definition of what CUE is?
Yeah. So first and foremost, CUE is a nonprofit that really is focused on taking all of our resources, whether it's monetary or time or the network of amazing humans that we work with, and connecting them to other people. And so while we are a nonprofit, I like to say that CUE is just this educational network of really innovative teachers and learners that are committed to shaking things up and all in the best interest of the students. And so last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary. We were founded in 1978. And it was really special last year at our spring conference to have some of our pioneers there. And we had a museum where we had some really old artifacts from back in the 80s and when we were all just starting to define what being a computer using educator was, which quite as specific and descriptive as what we are, because we're really made up of people, educators that are just, like I said, changing things up and asking questions and looking for technology to be a resource to help navigate that change. So that's what CUE is.
I love it. And I'm glad you kind of said that because it's CUE that used to be computer using educators. And, I'm of the 15-year membership plan. So I've been here for a long time. When computers were really at the cusp of evolving 15 years ago, where they were mostly in lab settings in schools and they were sort of in a classroom, maybe if you were lucky.
Maybe one or two in the back corner.
Yep, exactly. And what we were doing with them was trying to just be as innovative as possible. But in the last 15 years, we now have mobile devices and virtual reality and augmented reality and artificial intelligence is happening in this space. And so I think that just kind of moving away from putting us into a computer space is a good thing. So I thank you for talking about that history, because CUE has been a huge part of my life as an educator, a technology educator. And I try to share with as many people as we can, as you have done in your life with CUE as well. It's just, it's tapping into resources. Until I found CUE, I didn't realize that there were other people like me in the space. And I'm in the South Bay area of California. And so I found my affiliate group, which was Beach Cities, which was a really nice small affiliate community. And we kind of did a lot of little events, and then we were part of the bigger QLA affiliate that you'll talk about in a bit, how to get involved in the affiliates. So Q, the organization, has a lot of resources for educators, and I don't think you don't need to be a technology educator, someone who is like the tech TOSA or the tech teacher, or the person who's always teaching STEM or anything like that. Any teacher has access to the resources. And so can you tell us a little bit about kind of the resources that Q offers for folks?
Mm-hmm. It's like a treasure trove of innovation. I think that's the best way to describe Q, because if you are looking to participate in face-to-face professional learning at conferences, we have those. Because we have such a vast network of almost 30,000 members in California and Nevada, we really empower our local affiliates to meet the local needs of our teachers. So as long as you're dedicated to innovating and educating, I mean, this is your home base. And the local affiliates put on really informal meetups as well. And it's a nice way for those of us who, how do I describe this? Like I remember the moment when I realized that I wanted to share with other teachers what I was doing in the classroom. And it didn't happen at the beginning, but it very distinctly shifted in my identity as an educator. And I thought, wow, like I would love to help other teachers do this, because then they can help their kids do this and the families do this. And so Q is really that springboard to allow you to engage in that type of professional growth, which is super exciting. And I have enjoyed that journey, and now I get to actually support that journey. So that's what's really cool is I get to go to local events and go to our conferences and scout talent and say, just meet people and help people connect with other people and say, wow, like who really turned, what session really turned you on? And then I go meet with that person, and the next thing you know, like they're able to leverage an online platform or our face-to-face platforms or affiliate platforms. And it's just so exciting to see like the blossoming of educators in the Q community. And you guys are actually a perfect example of that as well, because now you serve as the social media champs for Q. And that's something that's really important to our team, which is the story of Q should be told by the members, by the feet on the ground. So whether it's by leveling up and becoming a social media champ like you two, or taking the time to have a hallway conversation with somebody on the team, or writing an email, taking that risk of saying, hey, I have this story I want to tell and put it on the blog. Is there anywhere to do that? Like that's what Q is about. It's just an open arm community ready to help you take your next step in educating humans.
Well, and that's what I've loved about being a part of Q, is that I've never felt, once I had that aha moment of like, oh my gosh, there's other people like me who are trying to do these things, and I connected with them. There was never a sense of competition. There was never it was always an uplifting, collaborative, collegial experience with these colleagues and lifelong friends. I mean, I could say that I've run into folks every year at the Q conference or just out in the field. And so being a part of your local affiliate, my affiliate, and eventually I was sat on the QLA board for 2 years, which was a great experience as well, allowed me to kind of create those relationships. Mm-hmm. Could you talk about affiliates? So anybody can become a member, and we'll talk about membership in a little bit, but let's talk about like what the affiliates do and how important they are and key they are to, especially if you're in California and Nevada.
Right. So they're really your entry points for local connections. And I mentioned earlier, we're nearing about 30,000 Q members. And what our Q affiliates do, they put on local events, but they also are there to be a resource bank in your back pocket. So the state of California is divided up into 21 little regions, and then the state of Nevada is one region in and itself. And each of those 22 regions comprise a regional affiliate. And the different affiliates, they are actually their own 501(c)(3)s. They have their own nonprofits. So the money they raise goes directly back into their local community. We, as kind of Mother Q, I throw up air quotes, we're obviously very invested in supporting and being present at their events, and a portion of your Q dues, if you do end up becoming a premium member, a portion of that goes to support local affiliates, really infuse their budget with resources to help make things happen. But each regional affiliate kind of has its own vibe and has its own flavor. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Like you mentioned, Beach City Q's or Beach City Q, Beach Cities Q. It's one of our smaller affiliates simply because regionally it's not that big. But then if you look at like North State Q, that's almost the whole top quarter of our state. So we really do try and connect the different regions that have stuff in common, like our larger, more remote affiliates. They really have a different voice than, say, our smaller affiliates. It reminds me of, good old history lesson of the United States,
That's right. So as a newer teacher that has maybe been in teaching maybe 1 or 2 years, what are the benefits besides having these communities? Like, are there other benefits that Q offers?
Well, so this might be a good way to segue into the different levels of membership. After our 40th anniversary, we actually created free membership for the 40th year because it previously cost $40 to become a member. So we thought, hey, to celebrate our 40th anniversary, let's just grant free membership, $40 covered for anybody. And so we saw just a huge influx of membership, as you can imagine. That calendar year brought in nearly 12,000 members.
Wow.
And so your question's spot on, like why are people joining? And what's the benefit for you as a member? And one, it's just that sense of I'm a part of something bigger. So there's like that kind of there's the intangible benefits of, wow, I'm part of something bigger. I know that Q is advocating for my students in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. We have a huge legislative advocacy efforts happening, all the net neutrality stuff, like very dedicated team of volunteers. So the complimentary membership that we offer now, which is a continuation of that year of free membership, will just kind of satisfy that. But it also, we have on q.org, which is a website where members can tell their story. I mentioned that earlier. Like if you have a story you want to tell, it's as simple as pick up an email me, email any of the social media channels, and we'll get that voice blasted. We do weekly Twitter chats. We send out member emails a couple times a week. In fact, right now we are running a special celebration for the holidays where we're giving 6 days of just giveaways to our members to celebrate what we're calling #FestaQ. Okay, so that's free membership. As a premium member, you're able to identify your local affiliate that you want to give a portion of your dues to. Did I say it was $40 already? It's $40. And what you also get to do, you unlock the opportunity to volunteer at events, which can cover registration. You unlock the opportunity to become a lead learner, which kind of like what I spoke to earlier, like if you're somebody who is interested in sharing your story and presenting, like that's what our lead learners are. They're presenters that actually get compensated for their kind of contract work. So it's a really special Q community. You unlock Club 78, which we're going to put a link in the show notes. And that's just our opportunity to shower the goodies that we get from some of our exhibitors and our partners with you guys. One example too, at our fall conference, we had books by educational authors from our community and from all over the place on sale for like $10 instead of $25. And so it's funny because it like your premium membership ends up paying for itself in a lot of different ways. But that makes me think about your question even more. Like, okay, so if it's kind of a wash, why become a premium member? And I think it's just leveling up your commitment and really like making your personal growth and professional growth a priority. Because a lot of the communication and the membership benefits that you get, are similar between complimentary and premium. But the way that you just get to experience conferences and relationships and, the giveaways and the discounts and the BOGOs and this and that is just so fun with premium membership. So we really do encourage people that, like to belong to level up.
Well, and I think for those of us who works with a lot of memberships, I have a lot of memberships. I think we estimated that the memberships of the different organizations that I belong to are somewhere in the $250 a year range that I pay for between the different ones. $40 is one that I'm happily willing to level up. When it went to free, I was like, wait, what? It's free now? And then I saw that I could pay, and I was like, I'm totally paying for this because the discount, the $35 discount on Spring Q right there just made my membership $5.
Right.
And then the opportunity to buy the books at the events super cheap, which I own just about every book known to man that you guys put out. So, I try to just kind of look at it like, basically what you were saying is that money is kind of going to our affiliate groups so that people have jobs and people have money to put on smaller events too, right? Like smaller, more localized. There's brew queues where they meet at a brewery. There's coffee queues where we meet at a coffee shop. There's smaller little events that are actually, and by smaller, I mean, not 5,000 and 6,000 people, but like 100 or 200 people or
maybe 10, right?
Or maybe 10. Yeah. I mean, we've sat at a Mexican restaurant one time and just had a little like brainstorming session. And it was really cool to get to just to know people, just having those opportunities, those like smaller events also bring along people who maybe aren't ready to present at one of the big Q conferences or ready to present. Maybe they want to try something out before they present at their staff to their staff. And so they can kind of come to this safe space and get really good feedback. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think for $40, that's one of the ones that I could, that I don't go to Starbucks for a couple of days, like that's easy.
And one thing I'd add too is we are a nonprofit. So the only way that we exist, like the only way I have a job and and Jason Selsgar, who's the director of affiliate engagement, has a job, any of us, is because of members. It's because people believe in what we're doing and they want to be a part of it. And so you're right. I mean, we just try to make it really fun for premium members to be premium members. But at the end of the day, I ask myself, like, what if I'm a new teacher and I'm inundated with all these potential memberships that I can engage in? I belong to NCTE. I belong to the Independent School Organization. I belong to so many organizations, and I never felt that impact in a really personal way. And I guess the question I would say, ask yourself is, what do you prioritize as an educator? And and align yourself with an organization that does that, because that's what this is all about. It's about modeling the connected learning and leadership for your students. Being able to say, I'm presenting this weekend to students. I mean, I can't even tell you how many students would be like, oh, like my teacher's presenting, or as a TOSA, like other teachers kind of, it helps tell your story. And that's why I think any of us really align ourselves to nonprofits and organizations, professional organizations, because we just believe in what they do. And we're just this community of change agents and innovators. And we'll go back to that from the beginning, So if you're curious about all that, this is the right place.
Mm-hmm. And coming again from a newer perspective, if I'm still I want to dip my toe in the water, say, are you going to ask me to volunteer as soon as I come in to a meeting, or like what's going to be expected of me?
Not much. It's what you make of it. So we actually, like volunteering let's use that as an example. This is the first year that we actually are putting out to our premium members the opportunity to volunteer. And I say opportunity because they get swiped up very quickly. You have to remember this conference costs, $350 just to attend, and then hotels and travel and food. I mean, if you can get $350 covered by volunteering for 6 hours, people want to do that, and now we're making it a premium membership benefit. We're saying, hey, you invest in us, we'll invest in you. So those are some of the ways that we're shifting our thinking too. And we have a budgetary goal of hitting 3,000 members. We want to hit 3,000 members before the fiscal year ends. And we're committed to doing that. So it's about, getting people to believe enough in what we do that they're going to open up their credit card and swipe it.
And so this membership is open, not again, just to public school teachers, right? It's open to any educator.
Any human being on the planet. Yeah. My sister is actually a homeschool parent, and she and I have talked at length kind of what resources are available for her. And she comes from a wealth of resources in the homeschool community. I know it's a rich environment. But she was kind of tickled that, oh, there's a place for me there too. And I taught in the independent school circuit for years, and we actually have a learning network for independent school teachers. So we really, we didn't talk about learning networks, but we do have, in addition to regional affiliates, we have 9 learning networks that are there to basically respond to the heavy interest of our constituents. So we have a large number of people that are, or administrators that really want to be connected and focused. So we have a very active administrators learning network. We have computer science learning network. We have technology in the classroom learning network. We have an IT learning network. So we really try and just respond, like pay attention to what our people are asking for and respond with some sort of organizational support. There's places for newbie teachers at all of our conferences. We have, at our spring conference, we have new attendee orientation. We're building up some webinars so that people that are coming to our conferences for the first time that might be a little overwhelmed can actually experience some of our best practices and tricks and tips before they even arrive. And we offer a number of other programs that are not gigantic, but that are still Q-based. So we have our online learning opportunities, which we're just starting to roll out our Q Master classes. And we're so excited about that. I might have to come on again and talk to you about that when that's all rolled out. But we have our Rockstar camps. We have our specialty camps. Districts can actually contract with us and bring in a handful of our team members to do like just a personal school district Black label training for like 100 teachers. So we really try and listen to what our people are asking for and provide.
Wow, that sounds so awesome.
It is. And I know, Brenda, you and I have attended a couple different things. We've attended a BOLD event, which is the Blended and Online Learning event, which was phenomenal because that's the space that I work in higher ed. We've done many spring Q events, and we've done ed camps that you guys have kind of hosted or I don't even want to say sponsored. I think it's more of like just
regional events usually. Yeah, they usually do those. But yeah. We work with Ed Camp.
We love that. We just the opportunity. We were in Mammoth, and we had people from all over, even out of state, came into the Mammoth Lakes Ed Camp event, which was so fun. And John did a masterclass recently. John Crippen.
He's just rolling out the first one on barbecuing meat.
On barbecuing meat.
John Carippo.
You gotta go big, right? You gotta go big.
I love it. We actually, something else I wanted to mention too. We're rolling out over the last calendar year. We've rolled out a new program called Q Craft, and it's really about unlocking like the craftsmanship and the artistry of education, where it's not about taking a set curriculum and reading it verbatim, but it's really about getting rid of that textbook and figuring out what your kids are curious about and teaching them based on some protocols that we have in place. So another thing that is relatively new for us is we're actually releasing content now, pedagogical, research-based lesson plans that you can find at q.org/craft, which we'll put in show notes.
Nice.
So that's really exciting. And they're made from the members. So we have Lisa Nowakowski sharing her math reps, which is just a phenomenal way to kind of all around engage students with protocols around just number sense and so much more. Why did I say number sense? Probably because I have a first grader. But the Lisa Nowakowski's math reps are just a perfect example of a member who figured out a really good system, shared it big, and now you can actually download it and use it for free on our website.
The math reps are based on the Edu protocols that I think, as I recall, that John has talked about and Marlena Hebron have talked about too from that book, because I've been using that book as a textbook in one of my classes that I teach at the master's level, and that single unit was the one that got the biggest, I think, thumbs up from all my students. I have 27, and they just loved it. They just loved the opportunity to kind of like you said, just think outside the box a little bit, try something a little different. And then it was just mind blowing because they were like, oh, my kids aren't going to be able to do this. I shared reflections with John and Marlena for my students, as kind of said, we didn't think our little guys would be able to do this, our kindergartners or our first graders or our second. And then it was like, and next week I'll be trying something else because that went so well, I'm going to add on to it.
Yeah.
It was just really, the content that is being shared among the community, and that you guys are kind of allowing a platform for it to be shared. out with the community. So thank you for all of those pieces. Cause I think, again, if you're going to join a community, first of all, you get out of it what you put into it when you join a network like this. And, if you're going to lay dormant, which honestly, there have been a year or two where I've had to lay dormant because there's other things going on in my life, but still I was getting what I needed from the people that I needed it from. And the higher level of engagement I put into it, the more I got out of it.
Right.
I think that's what you can get out of this community, for very low entry. It's a very low entry point as far as like financially, and what you get out of it is 100-fold of what you in my opinion. And
yeah,
I'm not just saying that because we're the social media champs. I mean, like I said, I've been in for 15 years, and I'm just now, getting to the point where I'm feeling like, and you guys are stepping up the game too, with just kind of the new look, the new feel, the new website, just the new opportunity to be very green. Q has gone very, very green in the last few years. Yeah. Which is all on, there's great sustainability opportunities on the website. If you go to the q.org website, there's lesson plans on how to be more environmentally friendly in your classroom and things like that. Just that kind of stuff, which you don't expect from an nonprofit. Yeah, exactly. And so the other thing is anyone in the world can join. However, being local to California or the West Coast, California, Nevada, obviously there's more opportunities locally for you to participate in live face-to-face events. But to get access to the resources and support the nonprofit, you can do that from anywhere you want.
100%. Yeah. And in fact, I was just going to say that we actually serve as the California affiliate for ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology and Education. And we'll put a link in the show notes that will help you, wherever you land on this globe, figure out what your local ISTE affiliate is. And it's funny because so many of us on staff and lead learners and the board members, like we travel to conferences across the states, and we present in all these random places. And so a lot of times people will be like, hey, can we join Q? And you're like, well, you're in Illinois. Like, yes, you can. You definitely can. And there's plenty of reasons why, and we want you to. But also check out ICE, which is their, I believe ICE is theirs. I should check the link. And you should check the link. But there are so many really active communities. Q's different though. Q's a very different beast, and it attracts people from all over the nation. We get people traveling from far distances.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in Q.
Yeah, yeah. And just family, like this is just, I like to believe that we open our arms to anybody, and like you said, you get what you give, and if you're hungry to connect, someone will connect. And when you end up becoming a premium member, that's when you get an opportunity to select your primary affiliate, and you can join any of the learning networks at that place too. You can join as many affiliates as you want. And in fact, I've joined every single one. One, I work here. That's a good idea. But two, I like to see what kind of communication they're sending out, because local affiliates also send out newsletters, and they send out announcements and special things that are going on. So it's really neat, whether you're in state or out of state, to just like continue to feel connected to people that are shaking things up.
Right.
I love it. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. We're hitting.
Are we not there yet? I thought.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot. But like, what's coming up? What can we do as California educators, Nevada educators? We've got Spring Q coming up.
Yes.
And I think that's the big one. That's the big mama. Exactly. So if there's people out there, and I can't imagine that there are, but if there's people out there who have not signed up to come to Spring Q, it's not too late.
Not too late, but we are over 50% sold out.
So we should get on that.
Get on it.
Opportunities for them would be to become a premium member and ask to volunteer potentially. That's if they are having problems, maybe connecting with their district on getting funding. Have you filled out?
Yeah, you would need to do that like this week, because we're doing calls for volunteers right now.
So find some funding, get the premium membership to get your discount. And what should they expect from Spring Q?
Well, actually, before we do that, can't you do Donorschoose for professional development?
Yes, you can.
I believe it is Donorschoose, right?
Yes.
Dude, here's what I would do. I would put Spring Q Conference as my specific ask for PD, and I would put that as a link on the bottom of my emails. And then I would send that to all of my parents and maybe talk to my room parent and say, hey, if anybody wants to give me something, chip in and pay for Spring Q. That's not a bad idea.
That's a great idea. What should they expect? Why would they want to go? So, I mean, Brenda and I have done like a Get Ready for Q podcast. I know a lot of the social media champs have done that too. But like, what should they expect? What are they going to get out of it? Why would they want to go to it?
I'm literally navigating to the Spring Q website right now because there's so many things and we're adding them all the time. So first of all, it's just a beautiful website. If you haven't gone, please go. It's gorgeous. We have a great color palette this year, which I'm really excited about. We have, hundreds of sessions from all different types of presenters. So, and what we've really tried to do is earmark different or help people filter the schedule. So like if you're a primary teacher, we want you to be able to go click on a filter for primary and be able to see that. Or if you are a math teacher, or if you are higher ed, or however you are, administrator, we were really trying to create some really logical filters for you guys because there are so many to choose from. So many sessions, which is exciting. But it's a lot. It's a lot to take in if this is one of your first conferences. So our sessions, they are an hour long. And our workshops are 2 hours long. And so our workshops, there's a little over 30 workshops that we're offering for free. And those are 2 hours, and they're just going to be a little bit more hands-on. Like, when you go, the difference between the hour and 2 hours, really time to practice with the presenter in the same space. So those are super exciting. And you can see those right at the top of the q.org/spring page. We also just have some fun featured events. So we're having a Meet the Authors event and a coffee queue. So you can come have free coffee and hang out with some authors from our community and have them sign the book that you bought or buy their book. We have students coming and participating in a few activities, whether it's a playground or we're having them do some booms, which are like 3-minute little mic drops, we call them. We also have adult humans doing booms. And so that's really exciting. If you're into sketchnoting, we have a sketchnote garden. So we'll have a special section of the conference set outside and actually a beautiful little venue with running water and trees. And it just feels like this oasis that it's supposed to feel like. And we're going to set up these, they're called wipe books, and they are whiteboard kind of poster papers that you can reuse again and again. And people are just going to be sketchnoting their experience. We're going to have the steampunk playground. So you get to spend time if you're into STEAM and if you're into robotics, and if you want to talk to students that are going to be in there and exhibitors, getting FaceTime in the exhibit hall with the developers of the products you use is one of my favorite things to do at these big conferences. Sometimes people go into exhibit halls and they just are like, where's the Snickers bar? I got to go. Other people, like, I think that's a fine entry point. I'm not judging it because I lived in that space for a long time. However, once I realized like who was actually in the space, I would go up to, I have this very fond memory of Symbaloo. And there are 2 developers that come from, I believe, Sweden, very thick accents, lovely gentlemen. And I was using it in the classroom with my students, and I was having an issue embedding with the code. And I had tried to figure it out on my own. And I would happen to be walking through the exhibit hall, and I saw the Symbaloo booth. So I went over and I was just like, hey, can I ask you guys a question? And the next thing I know, I was talking to the 2 developers of the product, and they were like, no, it does that. And I said, I promise you it does not. And I pulled up my website and I showed him what happened. And he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. And that was one of those moments of like, now I get it. I get what an exhibit hall is all about. Like, it is so much more about, again, what you put into it, right? So I always fangirl at some of my favorite booths, but I also like ask those hard questions. And I firmly believe that our exhibitors appreciate that, because when else would they get that kind of like market feedback?
Right.
You're right. That's huge. I, as an administrator, and I tell my students this who go to Q, when you go through the exhibit hall, plan on spending time there. And I said this to Brenda the first time I brought her to a Q event as well, as I said, we need time to kind of walk. I like to do a walkthrough all the way through first and just see who's all there. Who do I want to circle back with? And I usually don't spend a lot of time chit-chatting or anything my first walkthrough. I go with whatever the priority is at that time for whatever we're working on at the university or at the schools that we're working on. So there was a year where all I wanted to do was find a cart solution. I needed to find a really nice carts and cabinets that were locking for iPads or Chromebooks. And there were tons of cart vendors there. And it was at Q that I met, who is now my exclusive cart vendor. And he's the guy.
Wow, that's serious at Q, huh?
Yeah. He's my guy. Like, I have a cart guy, and I have,
awesome.
I have guys that I meet, and then I develop these really great relationships with over time because their products are strong. I'm able to give the kind of feedback, especially if it's software. We're able to meet people who can give us feedback, and you can scan my badge and I get a lot of follow-up information, but I go in with a vision of like, what am I focusing on this year? Because I can't go in and see everybody and get everything for everyone. So if I'm looking for a personalized software, if I'm looking for digital textbooks, whatever it is I'm looking for that year, that's kind of where I focus my time and energy. And I tell people to kind of go in with that lens, and it could be one or two things, that's fine. But otherwise you can get overwhelmed. Right. But that's the vendor floor is huge. There's going to be a VR space, as I recall, potentially.
The steampunk playground
is probably in there.
I think the VR AR is happening in there.
And we'll be there. Your social media champs will all be there, not just us, but all the other social media champs that are out there.
We're going to have a special area in the lobby for membership, and we're just going to be like showering goodness on all our members and answering questions and getting people signed up and just, having fun next to the DJ. And the other thing I was going to say is we intentionally bring vendors to the exhibit hall that we know our teachers want, right? We know our community wants. So I've been to a lot of different events where I walk through the exhibit hall and I'm like, I'm not sure what to get out of this. Like, these aren't providing a solution for me in any way. But if you're a classroom teacher or an administrator or interested in education, like there's so many places to go. And we work alongside Ludo Learning, and we have for the last couple of years built out a game, like a digital game that people can play, where they get points and badges and stickers. And we try and really, we gamify the conference so that people can, feel like they have more of a purpose. And some of the tasks that we put in there specifically draw people into the exhibit hall or draw people into the booms or the steampunk playground. We intentionally build that game for somebody who's attending the event and isn't sure where to go. And we're like, hey, here are all the highlights. And by the way, some of the things we're going to ask you to do is like take a picture with a new friend, go to a regional meetup, hang out somewhere in Palm Springs and take a picture and show us, so we're really trying to entice you and engage you on all those different levels throughout those 2.5 days. Fly by.
They do. And they're so exhausting and fun that you
get so many steps. I think I walked like 23 miles one year.
It's incredible. It's wonderful.
And this year you have a Saturday.
We have a Saturday. Well, we had one before, but it was only half day. This is truly like a full slate of sessions. And so, it's $149, a Saturday pass for the day. And that will get you into, I want to say four sessions that day, maybe even 5. I should know that. I need to memorize the schedule. But a number of sessions. There's workshops that day. And we're going to be planning, we haven't figured it out yet, but we're planning some sort of like social gathering in the evening. And it's awesome if people want to spend the night on Saturdays. Our hotels would like that. So there's a lot of options especially for local people who can just drive on down Saturday morning and drive back Saturday night. It's very affordable and still gives you a really, really lovely taste of the full experience.
That's awesome.
Excellent. Okay, Kate. So if people want to get a hold of you or Q, how can they, social media handles, what's your...
Twitter is a great way to find me. I try and keep all my social media the same. So it's just my name @Cate Tolnai. You can email me, ctolnai@q.org. You can call me. I'll put my cell phone number in there. You can call me at the office. Just anything. And actually we have live chat going on. And so you can go to our website and you can actually talk to one of our team members. It might be me. If I pick up the call, it might be John Carippo, our executive director. It might be Alexa Bailey, who is our customer service rep. So who knows who you'll find, but we are findable.
So great. Well,
And the Q website is q.org?
Yes, q.org. And all of our just amazing stories and our media and our podcasts and our videos and all that can be found at on.q.org.
And I want to thank you for your time today, for spending some time with us this morning and sharing all about Q and the Q memberships and all the different events and resources that you have available for teachers and administrators and just anybody interested in this space. So thank you so much for your time today.
And can I just say one more thing?
Yes, of course.
My heart beats for educators. And if you are an aspiring educator or a young educator, and you're just trying to find your path and you're not sure where to go, you don't have to look further than this podcast, because I will do anything I can to help support you and connect you to somebody who can meet your needs. And it just will unlock. Never underestimate the power of just one email, I guess, and just know that there are people out there that are advocating for you, that are, staying up every night, wondering about you and making sure that you're taken care of, and you deserve it. You need it and you deserve it. And we love you so much at Q, and just know that we're your family when you're ready to take us in. That's all I want to say.
Awesome.
That's very heartwarming. Yes. I feel very welcome. So thank you. And I know our listeners will appreciate that too, Cate. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and we will let you go. We'll put all this information in our show notes on mytechtoolbelt.com.
And we look forward to seeing you in the spring in Palm Springs.
If not sooner. If not sooner. Thank you.
Thanks, Cate. And we're out. Thanks for listening to the My Tech Toolbelt podcast. If you have enjoyed listening, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or send us some feedback on our website, mytechtoolbelt.com. We would love to hear from you. This will help us deliver the content that you want to hear. Thanks, and we're out.